All right, y'all. So, this video is about me working with kids. Y'all, I've worked with kids before, but not at this magnitude where I am literally with them like a teacher. Sometimes even longer. 9 to 4, right? 9 to 4, Monday through Thursday. Then I do like sessions. And this all has to be surrounded with basketball. Basketball camps. Then there's like individual / group sessions. Working with kids. You get a different vibe. Now, at these kids' camps, these little kids is little kids. We're going from like 5, 6-year-old up to like 15 years old, I believe. And you know what? I done learned a great amount. Y'all. Almost every day I say, today drained me. Every day. Every day. I'll be like, these kids, it's draining me. But then also I'd be like, it really takes a certain style of person to work with kids. Like, first of all, there's a lot of people out here who just be working with kids. But if you gonna be that, that person working with kids, you real good with them, you get active, they love you, you love them. You know what I'm saying? If you gonna be that type of person, like you really invested, you gotta have a certain type of swag, a certain type of demeanor. It's like a balance of, I ain't taking no shit, but hey, we can rock out. And y'all really gonna learn some stuff. And I'm like, thinking about it as I'm like coaching and engaging with these kids, I'm like, I could for real do this, right? Like I could do this coaching stuff for real. I could do some teaching stuff for real. But these kids is draining me. But I'm having a good time at the same time. Like, if anybody who works with kids, like, like, yes, they drain you. But at the same time, there's like some gratification. You're like, you know what? They really learning something today. If anything, they gonna learn something from me. And I'm gonna learn something from them too. You know what I'm saying? You know something I didn't learn? Patience. Patience is a virtue. Because listen, I could be somebody who's like, hey man, sit down. And doing all that stuff. But I'm not a yeller at heart. I'm not a yeller at nature. Unless it's fun. If it's fun yelling, count me in. If it's mean yelling, like, hey man, sit down. Hey man, I'm not built for it. Now I do a little bit of yelling, but the kids love it. But patience, when I tell you, especially coaching these little basketball camps, the repetition, the repeating that I do in a day. Every single camp I've done, I've lost my voice. That's how invested I am in these kids. And I'm not yelling at them mean. I'm just yelling. I'm yelling at them good. You know what I'm saying? So I just be like really dialed in. But the patience, if you got the patience, you'll be able to, you'll be able to do it. That's all I'm saying. I also have learned how fulfilling it is. I don't think I realized how fulfilling it would be because I've only, done a little bit here and there. But when I tell you I'm on this thing every week, getting active with these kids. So I'm gonna break down a couple of examples. So, I think it's very important to learn your kids' names. So after the first day, my kids' names locked and loaded in the noggin. Locked and loaded. So then I'll be like trying to reiterate what my name is, and I didn't work. That's the other thing. I love the little kids. Now people be like, when I first got to camp, they was like, don't get the little kids. And I'm like, why not? I love the kids, like, and the kids love me. So when I was working with the babies, they would be like, I'd tell them my name, like Coach Kai, Coach Kai. They'd be like, Miss Kai, Miss Kai, Miss Kai. And I'm like, oh, okay. Miss Kai's cute or whatever. And then another thing, you ever received a hug from a kid just because, you know, they're like, oh, I appreciate you so much, or I'm so excited to see you today, or thank you so much. And they come and give you a hug. Now, I wouldn't say, you know, I'm like an affectionate, like physical touch type person, but when a kid comes up to me and gives me a hug, you know, if I could shed a tear, I would. It's like this little boy and him and his brother, and I be, you know, saying their names or whatever, and I'd be like, come on, man, you know, being really invested in them. And then he just sprinted up to me because we work one-on-one group sessions with him. Then he comes to the kids camp. He just sprints up to me. He's like, hey, give me a hug. Like, have you ever had a kid do that for real? Like, be for real. Then I'm in a little city where everybody, you know, it's not a small town, but, you know, it's a little burb. So everybody know each other, kind of. So then I be out and about. The kids be knowing me. They be like, hey, I seen a kid at a Mexican restaurant the other day. I said, hey, man, I know you. He said, hey, I know you too. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll see you around. I knew you was at kids camp. I knew you was at kids camp. Another thing that's really beautiful is when you're engaging with the kids, you're giving positive messages, and the parents come up to you and they're like, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you for saying that. Because, you know, this is just me, right? And I'm talking with the kids, and I'm like, hey, bro, or hey, girl, you just need to do this, and you belong here. You know, just what I feel like is like normal. You feel me? I feel like it's normal. And the parents, like, they eat that up. They eat that up, and I don't think that's something I realized. I don't think I realized how impactful that was for them, for the kids, and for me. Like, being able to tell a little kid, like, you belong, you matter, like, all that little stuff, and they're looking up at you like, yeah. And I'm like, I could cry again. If I could cry, I would cry. So those are some of the things. The other thing with kids, like, I wouldn't call myself an enforcer, right? I just said, I'm not a yeller. I'm not gonna do all the rah-rah, like, sit down. The discipline stuff, a little bit hard for me. But the respect, it's locked in. My kids know off the rip. So we got a bunch of coaches. They be having problems with their kids. My kids, And if they do, I'd be like, hey, man, hey, girl, why you acting like that? Come on. Ain't we here to play b-ball? You want to play b-ball, or you want to sit down? They're like, I want to play b-ball. I'm like, exactly. So let's get it together. And at this camp, you know, they be getting punished. You know, we got some yellers. We got some, hey, man, give me some push-ups. We got some, hey, you go take a lap. And I hardly ever do that for my kids. Because one, I don't want to. But two, I rarely need to. So I don't know what that's about. But I'm like, thank the Lord, because I'm like, hey, man, I don't want to have you do push-ups. I don't want you to have to do push-ups. I don't want you to take a lap, and I don't want to have to raise my voice at you. So are we listening or are we not? That's another thing I do. Rhetorical questions. It's like, hey, are you supposed to be, you know, eating on the court? And they're like, looking at me, and I just look at them, and we just stare at silence, and I go, exactly. So let's stop. Let's stop doing that. Let's go put the food up, right? At lunchtime, if you're supposed to be sitting down eating, hey, are you supposed to be over here dribbling the basketball? Did they tell you to come dribble that b-ball? That's what I thought. So let's put the b-ball down and go back. You know what I'm saying? I like to do that. And it seems to be working. But if anybody got some other tips that you think I should use working with kids, let me know. I'm all ears. So yeah, you know, the discipline. And then I be thinking about, oh my God, like if I actually have a kid, if I have a kid, I'm not gonna be able to, I don't think I'm gonna be a good disciplinarian. Like if they bad, you know, if they start screaming at me or something, like, whoa there, whoa. Hey man, hey girl, back it up. Let's relax just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. But I do have like a nice cute story. And it's like I have a bunch of cute stories. Like I could go on about these kids. Like, have y'all ever heard, I know y'all seen Kicking and Screaming. That's what Will Ferrell, you know, the soccer kids. And then like think of that, working with kids, and then think of like The Office or like Abbott Elementary. And you just set up a camera. Especially Abbott Elementary, because they working with kids. You set up a camera and you're just seeing these kids do random things the whole time. And I'm just looking and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, this is a movie for real. And if we set up a camera and we cut over to this little girl in the corner, she's doing something really strange that what you're not doing what you're, I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't have words for it. Like, I'm stuck. But does it make me laugh? Yes. Stories for days on days on days. But one of the stories, working with the babies, I'm working with the 5-6-year-old, right? This little girl, and there's something about little kids with glasses. Little kids with glasses. So she has glasses. She's not like a baller yet, you know, or anything. She's there. She's able to dribble a little bit, able to get a shot off a little bit. We're playing a game, and you have to listen to when the whistle goes because it's timed, and she didn't listen, or she couldn't hear. One or the other. Then one of the coaches goes, hey, you're supposed to be listening, and like, you know, kind of gets on her. She comes off the court. It's fighting her crying. She's like fighting her tears. She's fighting them real bad. And all her friends are surrounding her like, hey girl, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't. And they're like, oh my God, but like, come on, you can tell us. She's like moving. She's going in different directions to get away from her people. I'm like, hey, let's leave her alone. Let's give her a moment, okay? And they're like, all right. So I leave her alone. I look down. I go, hey, are you ready to talk about it? She goes, yeah. I'm like, do you want to tell me what happened? She goes, well, I didn't hear the whistle, and I didn't get to shoot, and I'm just really sad because I didn't get to shoot, and she's just frustrated. She's just frustrated. I'm like, okay, you know what? Sometimes it happens. You know, we don't hear, you know, something unfair happens. It's happened to me a lot too, playing a b-ball game. I didn't hear the shot clock go off. I don't know what I said. I made something up, and she's like, I don't know how I pivot. But I go, do you know what the WNBA is? And she goes, I said, well, do you know what the NBA is? She goes, I go, so the WNBA is the NBA, but for women. And she was like, huh, really? So then I pull out my phone and I start showing her the app, and I start showing her all the b-ballers. And I'm like, yeah, they don't have a team in Colorado, but they have a team here. So then all the other girls start coming around because now she's talking to me. And we're doing all this stuff. And they're like, huh. And I'm like, do y'all know what the WNBA is? And they're like, The little girl who was crying, who was sad, she goes, it's a women's basketball league that's just like the NBA. And they have teams here. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's wearing glasses. And like, it just made my day, warmed my heart. Then we go along the day. She's playing b-ball. She comes, she does a little point tap to me. Mind you, she's really tiny. Looks up at me. How old do you have to be in the WNBA? And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, that's another story. And Another thing I be doing with them, I be doing like call and response, like goofy stuff with them, and they be like listening to me. I don't know. It's like a balance of goofiness. Like I said, if I'm gonna yell, I'm gonna yell and it's gonna be fun. I'm like, we're walking in a straight line. I'm like, hey, my line, straighten up, straighten up. Or, you know, we doing some cheers and I be hyping them up. Like all this stuff, I don't know, but it works. But at the end of the day, even though that day drained me, Kyla, the kids, and the kids love